Hi gang, how you doing? Let's give this a shot. Most of you know who I am. My name is Mike Biamonte. I'm the manager of the schoolhouse or the School of Operational Medicine, housed here at a SURG, FBI, of course. Um, this is going to be a sort of a trial run. We're going to see how this works with the COVID-19 precautions and everybody staying home. We want to make sure you guys and girls are getting the training and education you need. So we're going to get kind of creative with this. Welcome to my house. If you hear banging in the background or barking, I got two dogs, and so this is as good as it's going to get. So I'm sorry, you get a little reflection here too. But I think one of the first topics we're going to discuss is NREMT and OpMed. I'm going to try and make these videos last half hour, 45 minutes, no more than an hour, that's for sure. Nobody wants to listen to me that long. And what I'm going to do is at the end of every video, I'm going to give you guys a code word. I know it sounds silly, but we have to have some sort of a way of keeping honest people honest. So if you watch this video, you're going to get CEs for it. The only thing I ask of you is email me on Lowside and say, hey Mike, I watched your video. Please keep the comments to a minimum as far as, all this. It takes a lot of work to do this. And let me know what that code word was at the end. As a matter of fact, I'm going to write it down now so that I remember to say something to you guys. And that code word will be unique for every lecture. So at the end, I'm going to give you the code word. Email me, hey Mike, I watched NREMT OpMed. It was fantastic. You're the greatest speaker in the world. And here's the code word that you gave. What I'll do then is I'm going to keep a roster on a spreadsheet of who attends, virtually of course, and I'll go ahead and update your NREMT account for you for this block of instruction. So let me give you a couple of disclaimers. There's going to be nothing classified on these videos, nothing at all. Nothing sensitive, nothing classified, so we don't have to worry about that. The way this is working is I'm doing it through YouTube, and I'll thank Mike Nevitt at a New York field office. He's a whiz with this stuff. I have this unlisted on YouTube. Some of you know what that means. I'm learning as I go. Basically what it means is nobody can see this unless I invite them to it or give them the link, which is what I did with you. There may be some of these when we start talking about anatomy and physiology and patho and very generic things that I may put out for public dissemination. When I say public, I mean some students, local community college, that kind of thing. I'm not making any money on this, but just information only. That's pretty much it. I am not a doctor. I'm not a PA. I'm nothing fancy like that. So the information I'm going to put out is at the paramedic level. And the reason I'm putting it out at the paramedic level specifically is this way paramedics, AEMTs, EMTs, EMRs can all get CEs for this. If I put this out at just the EMR level, then obviously EMT, AEMT, and paramedic wouldn't be able to get the CEs. So we're going to keep it at a higher level, but I'm going to keep it very basic and within reason so that everybody can get some CEs for it. What I'm also going to ask you for in this time of COVID is your recommendations. Right now, I've got a sort of a calendar built through the end of April. So it'll be 2 videos a week through the end of April. Could be more, depending on the popularity of this. You guys may hate it, and I may discontinue it right out of the gate. Excuse me. Or we may continue it and do more during the week. It all depends on you guys and what you want. With that being said, I'll take suggestions. Right now, what I have on the calendar, and you can go to the SharePoint site, and I'll talk you through that here in a minute. And there's a posted calendar of each video, and I'm going to put out videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So every Tuesday, every Thursday through the end of April, there will be a topic. This topic today obviously is NREMT and OpMed. What are they? Next topic is going to be, we're going to do an anatomy and physiology review. So it's going to be a 2-part video. Then we're going to do a pathophysiology review, 2-part, and then pharmacology and airway and trauma and so on and so on. So I'll try and cover all the major topics, and if we end up being whatever you want to call it, quarantined or held captive in our own homes because of this for an extended period of time, I'll just keep doing them, and we'll keep on keeping on. Again, I'm not going to make them very long. Nobody wants to sit and watch these things for too long, so I'm going to keep them to about 30 minutes, maybe a little more, so we can give you guys at least an hour of CEs, more or less. So let's talk about NREMT for a second. And NREMT in the OpMed world versus state. All right, within the operational medical program for the FBI, in order for you to be an OpMed operator, in order for you to be recognized by the Bureau, you have to be NREMT certified, National Registry of EMTs. Don't let the name fool you. For those of you who are soon to be EMRs or aspiring EMRs, the National Registry of EMTs, NREMT, is just a certifying body. That's all it is. It just gives consistency to testing, and we know within the Bureau that if you've taken and passed the NREMT exam, you've met a certain criteria. Some states recognize NREMT, some don't. So Virginia, as an example, is considered to be an NREMT state. So when you take a program within the Commonwealth of Virginia, EMR, EMT, all the way through paramedic, their certifying exam is the National Registry exam. Not all states are like that. Within the Bureau, though, however, you, regardless of which state you live in, you have to be certified through NREMT to be a part of the OpMed program. Now, depending on which state you live in, and depending on how your MOU or potential MOU is set up with an EMS agency, a hospital, whatever, they being the state and that organization may require you to have a separate state certification. If that's the case, knock yourself out. No harm, no foul. Go ahead, do it. Chances are it's pretty easy to get and pretty easy to maintain. However, so you know and you understand, within the FBI, the only certification you need to be part of the OpMed program, other than CPR and whatever other feather in the cap courses there may be, is National Registry. So, with National Registry, once you have it, let's talk a little bit about National Registry. It ends up being a source of confusion as to the different categories and whatnot. And I'm looking down here because I'm going to try this. Again, this is all a test. We're going to see how this works. We're going to, every now and then I'll pop something like this up. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I guess you can. Okay. We're going to look, and I'm going to kind of try to walk you through how to put your CEs in, how to recertify. Everything I'm going to show you is on the Schoolhouse SharePoint site. So if you go low side, SharePoint, and go EMSP, Emergency Medical Services Program, and you search EMSP in SharePoint, the EMSP site will show up. As a matter of fact, look at this, by the power of technology, somewhere in here, if you go to the EMSP, or Operational Medicine SharePoint site, and go to Training and Education, what will pop up is the Schoolhouse SharePoint site. So on there, if you scroll, and see if I can do this backwards, I feel like one of those crazy weathermen that do this. All right, go all the way down, and you go to School of Medicine Documents, you're going to see NREMT, EMT, EMR, all kinds of things. This is all information on everything from how to affiliate, how to test, you name it. In here, there's also some informational videos that you can take advantage of. And if you watch those videos, send me an email. Let me know, and I'll give you credit for it on NREMT. Calendar of events, which is sort of a moot point right now because everything's canceled until further notice. And over here is where I'm going to post these videos. That one there is just an 8-second test, is all it is. So the Schoolhouse SharePoint site's got a lot of good information in it. It's just a matter of going there and playing around with it. What we're going to talk about now is more NREMT. So when we look at the NREMT site, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. When I say look at it, a lot of different ways it'll come up. So this is how mine comes up. I wear a number of different hats for NREMT, but this is usually how it comes up. Now, once you get to NREMT, and let's see, as far as recertification goes, let's talk quick about recertification. For EMTs, AEMTs, and paramedics within National Registry, your typical recertification date is March 31st of a particular year on a 2-year cycle. For EMRs, it's the end of September. Why they did it that way, I have no idea. But EMRs, your expiration date is end of September, and on a 2-year rotation. EMTs, AEMTs, paramedics, again, 2-year rotation, but it's at the end of March. Don't know why, but that's why they did it that way. As far as hours go, EMRs, every 2 years, and forgive me for looking away, I just got to refer to my notes here. EMRs, every 2 years, you need 16 hours. EMTs, every 2 years, you need 40 hours. AEMTs, every 2 years, you need 50. And paramedics, you need 60. So every 2 years, those are your requirements. Now, here's where some of the confusion comes in. There's national criteria, there's local state criteria, and there's individual criteria. 3 different criterias. For those of you who've been around a while, think of it as category 1, 2, and 3. That's the way it used to be. Your category 1, or now your national criteria, is your mandatory stuff. That's what you have to have. Your airway component, your trauma component, your operational component, so on and so on and so on. For EMTs, as an example, that takes up 20 hours of your time. Right? The other 20 hours, give or take, is in your local/state or individual hours. Really, this could be anything. It could be what you're doing right now, watching a talking head on a video, a webinar, distance learning, a seminar, pretty much anything. So that's sort of how the hours are broken down. I know that may not be totally helpful. And again, there's all kinds of literature on the SharePoint site that'll explain in more detail the difference between national, local, state, and individual. Think of them as category 1, category 2, category 3, mandatory stuff, and then your kind of soft criteria. You can fill in pretty much anything you want after that. So when we do EMT refreshers regionally on a quarterly basis, we're knocking out those big mandatory ones. And then when you listen to videos like this, or 24/7, or Medic CE, or podcasts, or anything, those fill in those softer criteria. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. So we'll talk just a little bit about late fees and that extension now because of COVID. Under normal circumstances, you have to get all your hours every 2 years based on whatever level you're at. Now with COVID, NREMT is extending the expiration date for this year at least. So instead of March, now you're pushed until June 30th of 2020. How does that help the EMRs? Really doesn't right now. But EMTs and above, you have an extension. So if you were due to expire here in a few days, you have an extension to June 30th. If you need it, great. If you don't need it, don't worry about it. Submit your recertification package and rock on. There are no late fees associated this year with that June push. So if you, for whatever reason, you don't have to tell me who you are, if you are unable to recertify, unable to get your classes, get your CEs, and you have to take advantage of this extension to June 30th, there's no late fees either. So it's kind of nice. National Registry has also waived the restrictions on distance education. What distance education is exactly what you're doing now. Listening to a talking head on a video, a phone call, grand rounds, something where you're not interactive with an instructor, which is something I'm working on in the future here. Hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to have an interactive instructor to student type of correspondence online, and then that'll count for pretty much any category of hour that we want. But for now, during the COVID situation, NREMT says they don't care how you get the hours. It used to be, and I say used to be, before COVID, and I'll give you the hourly breakdown. It used to be that if you were an EMR, you were able to do 10 hours total out of your 16 with distance education, things like this. 3 hours of national, 3 of local state, and 4 of individual. For EMTs, you're able to do 24 hours total of distance education, 7 national, 7 local state, 10 individual. All right, kind of nice. AEMTs, you can do distance education for 8 national, 8 local state, and 12.5. Why 12.5? I don't know, of individual. And then for the paramedics in the group, you can do 10 of national, 10 of local state, and 15 of individual for a total of 35 hours. So you can do a big chunk of your hours with distance education under normal circumstances. Being that we are no longer in normal circumstances, you can pretty much do all of your hours all of your hours with distance education, because NREMT has loosened up the restrictions, NREMT has loosened up the restrictions on that during this COVID period. So take advantage of it, which is why I'm going to push out a lot of these videos so you can crank out as many of these hours as you can. So let's see. Okay, how do you add, and this has always been a sticking point, how do you add hours into your account other than me adding them in for you? So if you're taking a class that I'm hosting or one of these videos, I am more than happy to put these hours in for you. Again, just send me an email, low side. Hey Mike, I attended this block of instruction, for this amount of time. This is the code word at the end, and then I'll add you to the roster, and I'll give you the credit at NREMT. If you're froggy and you want to put it in yourself, it's not necessarily intuitive. So let me kind of walk you through it. You'll go to your home page, right, whatever that home page looks like, and where it says my role or select a role, I've got a number of different roles here. That's not a fat joke either. What you're going to do is go to My Certification. All right. Once you go to My Certification, one of the options is to add a course. So this is sort of jumping ahead, but right here, how to recertify, stereo instructions. So if you go to My Certification, it'll start to walk you through the recertification process. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. But now, if you want to add a course, say this course, hit the Add a Course link, and it's going to start walking you through, again, stereo instructions. One of the things it's going to show you is course type. Now, under course type, there's going to be standardized course, continuing education course, refresher, college course, initial EMS program. 9 times out of 10, what you're going to be looking for is continuing education course or standardized course. If you're taking a bona fide EMT refresher through us or with me, then, I don't know if that's, I guess you can see that, right? There we go. I'm usually the one that's going to do that for you if you're in an actual refresher. But something like this is considered Con Ed. This is a continuing education course. So you click that. Course name, whatever it is. Like this one is NREMT OpMed. We can make up whatever name we want. It really doesn't matter. And then it'll take you through just a series of boxes. All right, how do you want it categorized? How many hours, so on and so on and so on. As we get to the bottom, it's going to ask specific questions. Did you teach the course? Was there a live instructor present? And if there was no live instructor present, in this case, just click no. Now, it will give you the option of uploading an attachment. So if you get a certificate of completion for any course, you can upload the file in here. Let me be clear about this. It's a convenience. It's all it is. NREMT does not mandate it, nor are they going to take that file that you upload and automatically generate CEs. It doesn't work like that. It's just like throwing it into a file cabinet. That's all it does. NREMT doesn't do anything with it. So what you have to do at the very bottom of this is you've got to go in, save it. All right, so save and view transcript. What that's going to allow you to do is then start to categorize or assign hours. So what I've done here All right, where's the course? Good, good, good. All right. All right, let's see, you still there? All right, hope I didn't lose you. All right, my computer turned off for a second. Let's see. Okay, let me find the course that I did. Let's see. See, now in mine, it's not going to do it because I've already completed my recertification process. So at the end of the day, these are all the categories, at least for the paramedic side. And I'm green across the board, which means I'm good to go. I've got all my hours. When you go in and need to put in your hours, you go through all the steps that I just showed you, continuing education, live instructor, yes or no. Just answer all the questions as you work your way down. When you get to the bottom, submit, and then you have to actually categorize your hours. Again, it's not intuitive, but on the SharePoint site, there's a PDF on how to do this. Unless you assign your hours, your course is going to be considered unassigned. So the only way to assign your hours is in that process, go in and assign, let's say 1 hour as an example. Like this course would be 1 hour, let's say state, local, or individual. Choose your poison, doesn't matter. You physically have to go in and put 1 hour next to that category and hit submit. And then it'll show up as green as an assigned course. If you just go through that first page and hit submit, you're going to show up as, that class is going to show up as red, unassigned. So in order for you to get credit for a course that's not a canned program, like your standard canned programs, ACLS, the bigger TCCC, things like that, NREMT already has that categorized for you. But if you're doing an outside-the-box course like this, or you've attended a seminar somewhere, you're the one that has to physically assign those hours. And that's what creates a lot of confusion for people because they can't understand why their courses aren't assigned. And they're not ready for recertification yet. If and when you have problems with it, go to the SharePoint site, go to NREMT. They got a ton of different ways for you to research how to do this. But again, go in, My Certification, add a course, go through the stereo instructions of how to add that course. And at the end, when you submit it, it'll bring you to an area where you can assign hours. That's what you need to do. That's the final step, is to assign hours. Without assigning hours, it's almost as if the course never happened, which is unfortunate, but that's the case. All right, recertification. You saw the link. Go under My Certification, and sure enough, it gives you stereo instructions on how to recertify. Go through the steps. You cannot recertify until you are green across the board 100%. So if we look at mine as an example, all right, I'm an overachiever, what can I tell you? But if you look at mine, this is what you want to see. You want to see recertification progress, all right, 100% across the board. Once you have that, then you're eligible to recertify. If you're 99%, you got to figure out which one of those colors over here is red and figure out why the hours haven't been assigned to that category. So if you look at the different components, national, local, state, individual, right? Those are the components we talked about. So again, EMR, you need 16 hours every 2 years, 10 of which can be distance education. EMT, you need 40 hours every 2 years, 24 of which can be distance education. AEMT, you need 50 hours, 28.5 of which can be distance education. And paramedic, you need 60 hours, whereas 35 of them can be distance education. Only during this COVID period, we'll call it the COVID period, and whatever name we want to call it, has NREMT waived the restriction on distance education, and you can do all of your hours now with distance education, which is kind of nice if you need that. All right, I think I beat that to death. Affiliation. Some of you have an NREMT card in your hand. Good for you. Congratulations. You are not affiliated with the FBI automatically just because you have that card in your pocket. It doesn't work like that. So again, if you go to your dashboard under My Certification, and this is going to look a little different here. Go to the home page. All right, so if you go to your home page at NREMT, again, go to My Certification. Select a role, My Certification. All right. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, and again, this is on an iPad, so it's going to look different from a website. If you scroll down a little bit, you're going to get all kinds of categories here. One of them, ironically enough, is Manage Affiliation. All right. Click on Manage Affiliation, and it'll tell you who you are currently affiliated with. I am currently affiliated, thank goodness, with the FBI. If you go to your portal, your NREMT portal, your little home screen there, and click on Manage Affiliation, and you're not affiliated with the FBI, you're not technically covered by the OpMed program. Remember, we are an extension of Dr. Fabri's license, so we have to be recognized by the OpMed program through the FBI in order to be covered liability's sake. Unless you are affiliated with the FBI, you're not technically covered, so you have to be affiliated. So if you haven't done that step, if you've gone through the course and you've taken the NREMT test and passed it, and you've got the card in your pocket, and you've sent the EC to Pamela Browning and Dr. Fabry up at Moriu, that's fantastic. You have to be affiliated through NREMT. Go to your portal, Manage Affiliation, request affiliation to the FBI. That sends an email to the Moriu office. They check the box. And what that does for me, it gives me administrative access to your account so that I can update your account with CEs. I can help you get through that process. Unless you're affiliated, I can't help you. So help me help you, that whole thing. So let's see, what else we got? NREMT.org, SharePoint. Okay, we talked about that. All right, so as far as the video schedule goes, we talked about it. This is it's a work in progress. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to see how this works. I'm going to try and put out 2 of these a week. We could go to more. I don't think anybody wants to see more, but we could go to more. We could scale it back. This could continue past the COVID period. Who knows? If you have topics that you want to hear about, let me know. I'll be happy to squeeze them in. If I don't hear from you as far as topics go, I'm going to push on with common topics that'll cover everything from ALS to BLS, and also try to hit those criteria for recertification, so you guys are getting what you need. That's about it. Thanks for your time. We'll figure it out as we go, and I'm going to keep you informed on live streaming so that we can kind of try that out when the time comes. All right, here's your code word. All right, put a lot of thought into this. Banana. How about that? Is that a good one? All right. So if you've watched this video, it's about a half hour, so we'll give you 0.5 hours for this one. But the future videos are going to be 45 minutes to an hour long. And I'll give you 15-minute breaks. Don't worry, I'm not one of those power instructors. So if you've watched this video, email me on Lowside. Hey, I watched the NREMT OpMed video. The code word is banana. And I'll go ahead and update your account. If I go to update your account and I can't find you, guess what? You're not affiliated. And I'll email you back and I'll let you know. That's it. Have a great day. Be safe. And don't turn into a zombie. Take care. Bye.